Check out.
You're either good or you're not good.
It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
It's more than just a hobby, it's a sense of identity.
It's a respect thing.
It's not how you stand by your car, it's how you race your car.
Racers will do anything for their passion.
The guns, the women, the cars. This is what made me want to become an actor.
Not just getting, pretty little girls to, stand around the cars.
We got that chaos thing down.
It's pretty darn testosterone enhanced. And I like it.
I got it on the internet.
See a cool air intake.
There was a magazine article that Scott Stuber at Universal saw. They introduced me to the article, and I thought this was just a great opportunity to enter the whole subculture of these cars and people, and it was a great idea for a movie.
One of the things that's interesting about this world is it's really a meritocracy. If you can design and race a car that will do the quarter mile in less than 10 seconds, you get everybody's admiration and everybody's money in a bet. Basically, you have a great car or you don't have a great car.
It's more than just a hobby, it's a sense of identity. And their identity is reflected in these cars that may have started out as junk piles or leftovers from their parents. And they turned into something that they're proud of.
If you can take your mom's Civic and add another $9,000 or $10,000 to it and wind up with a high-performance racing car, that's within reach of most kids.
How much horsepower?
800 horsepower. Let me just explain to you, there's about 200 cars here. This car can beat any car.
And out of that has come a new subculture. And that subculture is going to just keep growing.
I started talking to Rob Cohen and Doug Claiborne and Mick Rogers, and they really wanted to immerse themselves in the culture and find out everything they could about the nuts and bolts of these import cars.
Besides the cars, they wanted to learn more of the lifestyle aspect of it. The music, the video games, the clothes, whatever youth culture was involved with it.
We went to some of these races, and it's a very impressive sight.
Ironically, we spent most of our time running from the cops.
Go, 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 go!
All of a sudden, helicopters come by, and there's flashing the lights, and cops start showing up. Gotta be out.
I think racers must have some kind of telepathy, because it's not like they're handing out flyers or like, this is where we're going, or these are the directions, or follow me. They disperse and then reunite and regather somewhere else. It's bizarre.
I think you start because you want to find other people that have the same love that you have.
Welcome to Race Wars.
We had about 1,500 Asian cars, imports, with drivers in a scene that we called Race Wars. And probably 1,000 extras or so that day.
I think they put flyers out and they announced it on the internet, but the amount of people that showed up and with their, cool cars with the gadgets and the cars are hopping like they're in some rap video.
Enjoy yourselves, just be yourselves. There'll be lots of cameras floating around. Gonna shoot until the sun goes down.
Rob and the casting people were using authentic people right off the street. They were using those people who do this on a daily basis. They were using their cars. They were using their wardrobe.
We had cars lining both sides of the street for probably about a half a mile. It's over 200 cars, and I don't know how many extras, because in each car probably came at least 2 or 3 people, if not more.
It's kind of like youth culture, it's everything rolled into one. I mean, people like to race, they like to look good, they want to be noticed.
Just give me props, that's all I want, baby.
There are actual girls out there who have been racing for a long time. Feels like it's about time. Tired of seeing the chicks go like this so that the guys can race.
So what you see on screen is an authentic representation of what goes on every weeknight and every weekend night on the highways and byways of America.
it becomes like a family thing. You have fun racing, but at the same time, when you're back at the pits, it's like you're with friends, you're with family.
It's a cool world. I love the realm.
The film so honestly and so accurately depicts this world. We haven't seen this world. We haven't seen this culture on film.
I think a lot of mainstream people will start to understand this youth culture that does this.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time. For those 10 seconds or less, I'm free.
In a sense, a car is a symbol of freedom.
They're canvases on which we can create images of speed and beauty.
It's as important as the cars to be sexy as the actors to be sexy, because the cars are co-stars of the movie.
We got fast cars and we got muscle.
They were very careful in the selection of the cars that they used. Cars that were icons in this industry.
No one gets locked out. Spare keys for all.
These cars really are a representation of the legendary cars of our time.
Some juice, baby, some juice.
You're looking at cars that do somewhere between 140 and 180 miles an hour.
Hopefully we stay alive in one piece.
It's pretty crazy. 157 is fast.
The cars, they don't have speedometers. Because if they had speedometers, the racers wouldn't be going that fast.
Like, I don't care how fast I'm going, as long as I'm beating the guy. As long as I can't see the guy left or right of me, it's kind of like, that's okay.
They have no rear view mirrors because they never look back. And they have no speedometer because they never take their eyes off the road, and they feel how fast they're going. They feel their engine. How, as a filmmaker, are you going to dramatize that? I just had the idea of going down Vin Diesel's arm into the stick shift, into the fuel injection engine, to the actual explosion of the NOS, of the nitrous oxide, which gives the car its instant boost.
I need NOS.
You want more NOS? You got more NOS.
Think of it as adrenaline in a bottle. When you hit that button, it takes what is chemically adrenaline for your engine and dumps it in there. And suddenly you have double or even triple the horsepower.
See ya!
Is it safe? Yes, when used properly, it's safe in a drag race in a controlled environment. On the street, it's on the edge.
You're lucky that 100 shot of NOS didn't blow the welds on the intake.
Speed, it's intoxicating, and you know, men want to do it and women want to be there for it.
We're going to try to take speed and the illusion of speed, which is very difficult to capture on film, and take a new leap into making you feel the actual experience of 170 miles an hour on a city street.
You're attracted to the idea of controlling that speed. On green, I'm going for it.
It's definitely adrenaline enhanced. It's freaking cool. I like it.
I think every movie that's going to be a success has to have surprising elements. In this film, one of the surprises is a cast of real depth and a cast about to break in many different ways.
It's your car.
The first character cast was Paul Walker. I thought that Paul had a McQueen-esque ambiance around him, you know, that was beginning to emerge as he was taking that final leap from teen heartthrob to manhood.
Yeah, I think every kid at one time or another, every boy anyways, has thought about being a cop. I've always been into cars. I get to be a cop and a race car driver, so I really get the 1-2 combo.
You know, he's very comfortable to work with, and he doesn't have an ego, and he's not difficult in any way.
I love doing the action stuff. Initially, I tried to get in with Dom because he's one of the suspects. He teaches me everything about driving. He more or less takes me under his wing, and so I end up respecting him for that.
Thought if I got in your good graces, you might let me keep my car.
You are my good graces, but you ain't keeping your car.
Who could play Dominic, the king of the racers, king of the streets, the anti-hero? Vin Diesel, in a minimal way, can create an enormous amount of energetic presence, and that truly is the foundation of Dominic.
You almost had me. You never had me. You never had your car.
Dominic is a person that has to be tough because it's the only way that he knows how to survive, and it's the only way that he knows how to take care of the ones he loves. He's got friends that have accumulated over the years to form somewhat of a family. Because you were the first out of everybody here to reach in to get the chicken, you say grace. Their appreciation for racing and their ability in racing. That's the one thing that kind of unifies them all.
Mia is Dominic's sister, and she's also Paul Walker's love interest.
The intelligence that Jordana brings to her part makes that relationship a very fascinating one to watch.
You know, my brother likes you. Usually doesn't like anybody.
She has a kind of remote, almost unknowable beauty.
Jordana Brewster is such an amazing person and an amazing actress that it's very easy to assume that role of a bigger brother.
You break her heart, I'll break your neck.
Michelle Rodriguez has burst out as a new female force to be dealt with. We didn't really have a part for her, and we started to write a part as part of Letty. And then I evolved it further to become Vin Diesel's love interest.
I play basically the girl who's like into cars and who's part of like the group, you know, who they pick on all the time. And it's kind of like that on set and off.
You know, she came out here all toughness and attitude.
Ow!
Pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face.
Like many people who are like that, she has a very sweet nature.
I mean, it's really cool. I get to race. I mean, he's been really open-minded. He let me do a lot of things that weren't originally in the script.
Very, very proud and happy that she's in our film. We're very lucky to have her. It's a very seminal cast, and maybe years later, people look back on this film like we look at American Graffiti and go, look at all those people who sort of emerged from this movie.
This is the posse.
Yeah. It's like method directing. I think the director's most important job is the tone of the film.
Put the gun down now! You are the cop! You're the cop, Brian!
I don't believe that the tone of the set is the tone of the movie.
He's assertive, but at the same time, he's very, very calm. So that everyone around him can be as stressed as they want, but he's very calm, which is a miracle for directors, because they're the ones, I think, with the most pressure in this sort of situation.
When you're asking 150 people to cooperate, to work well together, the looseness is conducive to that.
He's doing a scene where Rob does a cameo as a pizza man.
We ran out of money before this part was cast. What the hell's going on around here?
Street's closed, pizza boy. Find another way home.
I'll take care of you, pizza boy.
Our goals for each day are very specific, but if there's a little jocularity,
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vin Diesel.
if there's a little friendly interaction, we're just, you know, putting the lubricant on the ball bearings that make the whole machine turn.
Just the way it is.
My job is to keep that tone in front of the camera while keeping the machinery that's making the film, the men and women who are all collaborators of mine to make this movie, work very easily together to achieve a common purpose. A great day. When that happens, you have a wonderful experience making the movie, and then you present the audience a wonderful experience as they watch the movie.
All right, check the gates on that. We're not doing that again.
On The Fast and the Furious, I saw some of the best stunt coordinators do work that I will forever be in awe.
Visually, this movie is bitchin'. The way the car stuff's being shot, I don't think anyone's ever really seen anything like this.
We really got footage that have put the actors at that level with like Steve McQueen, who can drive, and they don't have to drive because I am. You go to tow someone, it's always slow. It's always like you can't do anything with a big wide trailer. My idea was to make rig, which is basically an elongated van. It's actually much more effective because you can go faster, you can slide it. I
I went out on a limb because I could have been a goat, but I'm not because everyone's digging it. It's going to be the new standard, I think, for chase footage, putting actors in the chase.
We went out with Mick Rogers, who's the stunt coordinator, and learned all the tricks.
How'd you do on your shifting?
I didn't. I explained to him that I really couldn't drive and that, he should not trust me for his life.
Jordana Brewster and Michelle Rodriguez stepped up to the plate. I mean, they didn't have driver's license, didn't drive, yet both of them came out and learned how to do it.
By the end of the day, I was peeling out, doing donuts, 360s, and it was all good.
What did piss me off, though, is that you couldn't go faster than 80 miles an hour.
There's no such thing as a safe squib shot.
Fire in the hole. Action!
We tried to do a lot, and we did do a lot. Just when we thought we were Evel Knievel, these guys would do things that you didn't even think were humanly possible.
My name's Mike Justice, and I'm the stunt double for Matt Schultz. They're gonna hijack this big rig. He's gonna transfer from a Honda car, climb up on top of it, jump from the back of the Honda onto the front of the truck. He gets kind of hung up. Cars come up to try to rescue him off the truck. And his character gets swung around. What we're doing now is tying in the actors.
I'm Matt Schultz, and I play Vince.
Now we've got him hanging onto the side of the truck, doing some of the actions at speed, 55 to 65 miles an hour.
It's a highly dangerous stunt. It's normally performed by professionals. But I was called in to handle the job today without any previous experience.
We have to always, push it a little bit and be out there and do really sharp stuff. Pipe ramps have been done a lot of times, but not as realistic as we've done. You'll swear the Charger hit a truck.
I didn't think it was possible. And these guys pulled it off.
Action-packed show. It's going to do real well.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad built her 900 horses of Detroit muscle. There's something very interesting about Dom's car. The real car that he loves is coveted. It's garage. That's his dad's car. It's something that he created. It is something in his heart, and that's an emotional car.
The Charger, Dom's car, he's afraid of it, he's afraid of what it can do, and, on some level, he's afraid of what he can do.
Everybody loved that car with the Hemi and the supercharger. I mean, everybody loves that thing. When it starts up, pulls out.
The Charger, almost killed him in the first movie.
Just when you thought that was it was a tie, it's over, bang.
The shot where my Charger flips over is done by some of the best stunt coordinators. I will forever be in awe.
When we did the final climactic big pipe ramp, pipe ramps have been done a lot of times, but not as realistic as we've done.
This is all done live, done real, no CG, one take. A very strong stunt, but one that was worthy to be the last stunt in the movie.
Just like old times.
If you bring Vin Diesel back, you need to bring that Charger back with him.
We're going to see Vin's Charger from the first one rebuilt.
I think it was a very good call.
You bring that back because not only is it just an awesome-looking car, but there's something more to it. It tells a story. It represents the soul of Dom. It's definitely overpowered like he is.
Chargers were extremely hard to find. We basically, with those cars, we actually bought total rust buckets. Cars that typically you wouldn't want to purchased for a restoration job. Yeah, this is actually what you had in their film, but we did lower the whole assembly.
Is this something that you guys are building, or is this something?
Yeah. Problem with these cars is they're obviously, hard to come by. Parts are very rare and very, very costly. And we needed, I think, at the end of Fast and Furious 4, I think we went through probably 8 of these cars. When we first started putting these cars together, just front fenders, we were paying $700, $800 for a less than perfect fender. And then we just realized, we're never gonna have enough. There's just not enough out there. So we had a company actually build a mold that we just created everything out of fiberglass. So the whole front clip in the car is something that within 2 days, we could have an entire front clip for a very economical price. We resheeted them with new doors, new quarter panels, filled the roofs with lots of Bondo. It was great for us to get the first one done here and go out and test drive it. It looked great. This is more the final version of the car. When they actually completed in that sequence to go back down to Mexico, the car is actually in a primer state. Once again, as you can imagine, this car had a ton of action in the film, so they had to be built to handle a lot of abuse, especially with the terrains we were involved in on this one. Rocks, creeks, you name it. So we try to make all the cars as easily serviceable as possible. And to do that, they went with a basic Chevy crate motor, 350, and turbo 400 transmission, Ford 9-ish like every other car we have on the film, Willwood brakes. And the beauty of doing that is, for instance, if they crash a Torino, we can pull the motor and transmission out and we can put it into a Charger. And overall, this car was the car that I was probably the most concerned with on the film. I thought, God, these things are going to be dropping like flies, just because they're not made for that type of abuse. It's a unibody car, and like I say, the jumps and bumps and everything else they were doing these things, I thought for sure they'd be one of our biggest downfalls. But as it turned out, the cars really never let us down, and they were subjected to some unbelievable abuse. But they kept on going.
Anytime there were 2 cars together anywhere, most of the time resulted in some kind of street race.
The heart's pumping, adrenaline's going, and you have the thoughts in your head of, hey, all these people are watching.
It's an addiction. You either got it or you don't. Some people are afraid of it. Some people can't conquer it. And they don't want any part of it.
My grandfather and my Nana, they both were racers. My Nana would talk about how the wind in her hair and going fast and how exciting and how her heart would just pump and race during it.
It's an adrenaline rush. You're addicted to speed, and it's a neat feeling. I mean, I love going fast.
For car guys, that's the way it is. I mean, it's the noise, it's the smell, it's a competition, it's all those kind of things. I mean, it's not even worth asking about, well, how did it evolve? Because it just is, I mean, it didn't evolve, it's just the way people are. Ford Motor Company was formed from money won by Henry Ford in a race that he had against a Winton back in Detroit back in 1901. And this was competition. Who had the fastest car? So they set up this grand sweepstakes race, they called it. And the prize to win that race was $10,000. Here goes Ford motoring on by him and wins the race. So 10 laps, he wins the race, gets a $10,000 prize. And that was the start of the Ford Motor Company. The Moonshiners, actually before World War II, hopped up their cars. They were very special automobiles, mainly Fords, and they'd hop them up. Yeah, they'd turn out about twice the horsepower as normal cars, and then they put these big tanks in the back, and they put the moonshine in these things, and they go down the road. Now, the cops knew who they were, and sometimes they'd want to chase them if they had a load. Well, the Moonshiners figured out that you put speed equipment on your car, and you get the car hopped up, you can outrun the cops. And then the Moonshiners, what they do on the weekends, they get together, same deal. Not running booze, they go out and race their cars. They get off and pair off and drag race or go out and do a high-speed run to see how fast they'd go. And that truly was the origin of NASCAR and the NASCAR organization, Daytona Beach. Bill France, early on, 1947, decided to hold a race on the beach at Daytona where the sand would really pack in. Now that was down south, see, so that's moonshining and that's NASCAR. Out here in Southern California, it was drag racing and just going off one to one. The servicemen came back from World War II, were building these cars, they were hopping them up. After World War II, you couldn't get a new car, so they did an old car. They get an old Ford, You know, generally 1930s, 32, 34 Ford. The V8 engine came out in 1932 for Ford Motor Company. And that was kind of revolutionary, and that became the engine of choice to throw in your hot rod and really make it go fast. So people started making equipment that would make that engine go faster. So these soldiers would come back, these veterans would come back, and they'd settle mainly in California, and they'd hop their cars up and they'd go out and they'd race them.
When you're born in Los Angeles, California, and you go to school and you know, you're here, everything's a car. And my brother was interested in cars. He started souping up his little cars, fixing them up that he had, and I guess it just bleeds over from your brother and your family, that's all.
It became organized disorganization where people would just meet different places and compete. I grew up in the Hancock Park area. We had Larchmont, and Larchmont was a natural drag strip. And a drag strip was that, you know, it had a finite length to it. So you'd race for half a mile or quarter of a mile, and who could get from one stoplight to the next stoplight the fastest.
There was a place here in the valley called Sepulveda Dam, 46, 47, and 48. And there's a long straightaway there of Sepulveda Boulevard. But I think the law enforcement in those days were a little more lenient because we really didn't cause them much trouble. So I think they sort of looked the other way for a while. They wanted the guys sort of get it out of their system other than go someplace where it wasn't safe.
This was a great place to grow up. If you were interested in cars in the 50s and 60s, you know, I'm sure the climate had huge, you know, impact on people in cars because, you know, weather was great. You didn't have to worry about sliding into a snowdrift.
And you had out here in California, not much traffic, great roads, and it was just a natural, particularly here in Southern California, for street racing to really evolve into what it did.
A lot of the innovation was, you know, born in California and then traveled east. The technology and stuff would kind of get around.
But what happened out of all that was a real large safety factor. A lot of these cars were just thrown together. They didn't handle well. They didn't have any brakes. You know, maybe the motor went well and the car went fast, but you know, the rest of it didn't go along with the way the motor was performing. You had people getting killed and people killing other people, and that's led to the evolution of the National Hot Rod Association. Tried to make it legitimate to go out and race your car, and so they'd go and sanction races all over the country. What evolved out of the street racing and the NHRA was drag strips were set up around Southern California.
In the Los Angeles area, any one time there's probably at least a half dozen drag strips that were open on weekends, mostly Saturdays and Sundays. You could take your car and race against another person, you know, in kind of a match race. It wasn't really that organized, but it was at a track where it was safe. And for us, it was pretty much a family deal. Most of the people that raced in the category that we raced in, they all had families, and our kids, you know, would hang around with their kids, and it was a fun time.
And then slowly, as the population built and the houses were built and the property was so expensive, they were gone.
Once the track shut down, and you know, street racing about tripled from what it was before the track to after the track. So you'd gotten all these people into it. It was a legal way for these people to race, and now it's like, where are we going to go to race? Where are we going to go to get the same adrenaline rush? And so people went to the streets.
We have the same problem today. In 2008, 2009, we have the same problem. The kids still go out and want to go out and race their cars, who has the fastest car. So you have these outlaw drag racing, street racing things going on down in the industrial areas of different cities around Los Angeles and the rest of the country. And people are getting hurt. People are getting killed, you know, doing this.
Now the kids that are driving today, they're 17 and 18 years old that are street racing, are running 120 miles an hour. There's still that adrenaline, macho, testosterone. You pull up to the stoplight and boom, boom. I do it now. I got a new Corvette and it's radical, you know, and I pull up alongside of a car. I pulled up alongside of a Porsche the other day and I looked over at him and I wanted to really hammer it. But you know, the speed is so fast that you can get into trouble so quick and these kids can't react to it.
You get the itch, but then you got to scratch it. You don't want to do that anymore. If you want to do that, go out to a drag strip someplace and get it out of your system.
I can tell you, sitting here today, I'm lucky to be alive, you know, and I count my blessings that all my buddies are still alive, and all my buddies are still my car buddies from back when I was 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, my high school buddies and all that. It's still my closest friends, you know. We have that bond that the automobile brings you.
think with my grandfather's era and my dad's era, it was more of a want of racing, just a want to have a good time. And nowadays, it's kind of gotten into money. People won't race for under $1,000. My daughter's the one I worry about when it comes to racing, because she is very much the adrenaline. She loves that, and she really wants to keep the slogan of, you know, girls rule, boys drool going.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
The best thing about racing cars was winning. And the accomplishment of taking something and making it go faster.
So that's really the origin of the thing as it evolved through the years. And, you know, it's the same back in 1900 as it is today.
In the case, now, I think those shots give you the idea. There's one shot that kind of lingers on the wire cutting into his arm. So the question's whether it's a cumulative thing.
See, later on too, we've got a real big close-up of it where it looks like it's cut his arm in half, haven't we?
Yeah, and I'm thinking
that's the one to...
I think that here the audience has gotten it subliminally, that wire is wrapped around his arm and has cut his arm. Without the one that looks like it's cut it to the bone is the one that I think is too much. That one.
That's the one.
There we go.
That's the bastard. Okay, cool.
That's one.
That's the one, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
that's the offender.
That's really the offender. We're working to try to earn our PG-13 rating, and although the MPA will not tell you what to do, they have indicated that the violence and blood factor on this truck is too intense for the rating. So Peter and I are working to keep the integrity of the sequence, but get that PG-13, because it's very important that the young end of the spectrum of the audience, those kids who cannot drive yet, who have a big desire to drive and learn about cars and speed and all the things that this picture's about, for them to be able to see the movie. No, that's not... God, I never would have thought that would have gotten them upset.
We're keeping it for 14 frames at the moment.
Well, what happens if we take, 5 frames off of it?
Okay.
Let's see how it looks. Well, that is still effective. He covers it very quickly.
Yeah. I don't think we've lost any of our impact if they'll
No.
accept it.
No, okay, so the question is, since we see him here, do we need this?
Let's try and...
Because we could go right to the next event, which is the shotgun. We see him squiggling around on the... I mean, this is what makes it gruesome, is the guy in pain, I think.
Well, they can't say we're not trying to eliminate some of their problems either.
I think we've trimmed the script shot, we've cut we've lifted one arm shot, and now I think it's a matter of watching ourselves and trying to find shots which don't feature it.
Okay.
Like, it's not worth it for Don't Leave Me to, get a PG, get an R rating,
Well, that one could be. You could take that one out, Governor, because then we then go to another event.
Yeah. Why don't we drop
the second one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how editing, in the case of dealing with the MPAA, we've mitigated the intensity of violence on the truck sequence to be more acceptable to the terms and conditions of getting a PG-13, which is very, very important for this film commercially.
I used to drag here back in high school. That railroad crossing up there is exactly a quarter mile away from here. On green, I'm going for it.
Oh my gosh. Whoa, what a ride. Hi, I'm Daylene Curtis, and I love speed, and I love guys with hot cars like this one. I'm here with Craig Lieberman. He is the technical advisor of the Fast and the Furious. And he's gonna help me get faster and more furious. First of all, Craig, what exactly does a technical advisor do, and what was your job on the set for the movie?
We have the coolest job in the world. We get to build cars on other people's money. We took cool cars, showed them what cars would be cool, got all the parts for them, modified the cars, and then basically handed them the keys and say, go wreck 4 of these.
And they call that a job.
They call that a job.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah, life's difficult.
So how are you gonna make me go faster and more furious?
We got this hot Mitsubishi Evo 8. It's got 271 horsepower. It's all-wheel drive, and it's turbocharged. We've got all the basic ingredients, but we're going to make it even better. So address the 3 major areas: speed, style, and sound.
So what kind of bling bling are you gonna give me?
Do turbocharger, nitrous, custom paint. We'll do full audio video system, completely trick it out from front to back. We're going to go crazy.
Well, let's go do it.
Let's get it on.
What kind of stuff are we gonna hook up in this car? So this is the car. What happened to it? Where's all the parts?
We stripped everything off so we can paint the car. So,
Well, what color are you gonna paint it, and why are you going to paint it? I mean, it's perfectly brand new. You don't like this color?
Well, silver is a great color, but it's kind of bland. We're going to paint it House of Color Candy Red. We're going to take the stock racing seats, which comes from a company called Recaro, and we're going to put Alcantara suede in there and color match everything. And we're going to do audio, too, don't forget. We got 6 TVs, amplifiers, a bunch of speakers.
Where are you going to put all the TVs?
We'll find a place to stick a TV, trust me.
Over there?
Everywhere.
What's the best part of fixing up all these cars?
It's got to be the motor. You got to make a lot of horsepower.
Yeah.
Stupid, obscene amounts of power.
Can you put a left seat in here?
For you, Daleen, anything. For the way that you're sitting in the car, I'm thinking more like a swing set. So now I get to show you the junk in the trunk.
So tell me what is in this trunk. What is all this?
I don't really know. Spare parts. We always have a few extra when we're done with cars. I don't know why.
Do you paint it? Is it part of the car?
Oh yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, we're gonna paint that. Do the big nitrous bottle. Remember I showed you that big nitrous bottle? We'll stick one of those in here. We'll do some big amps, about 1,700 watts. Big, thigh-slapping, blood-pumping, nuclear brain damage kind of causes sterility in men kind of amps. And then some big speakers, some big woofers.
Okay.
Got big woofers.
I don't understand why you men have to have everything big. Big TV, big woofer, big everything. I think you're compensating.
Not my tweeter. My tweeter's small. You want to see my tweeter? We're doing a base coat of solar gold metallic. We actually have to start with a different color because it's a candy. And candy basically means it's opaque. You can see through it. So you put down one color and then you put down a pearlescent candy coat over that. And this base coat will actually show through. With the 3-stage paint process, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to do it. About $8,000 retail. They're probably going to have 200 to 300 hours in the car. Now comes the hard part, putting it all back together.
Where are we at?
This is HKS. This is the candy store for us import
Big.
tuner guys.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how many square feet it is, but just look around. All these parts can be yours with the right credit limit on your credit card.
Your credit card.
We've got the guts pretty much ripped out of this thing. I mean, there's stuff all over the floor. Wheels and tires are off the car. Well, we're starting to get into the mechanicals, and the car comes pretty zoomy from the factory. It's about 271 horsepower. But we want to do it a little better. So the big intercooler, the big turbo, the racing suspension on the car. We got to get a bunch of electronics to make it all work.
And this is the intercooler?
Intercooler, yeah, you got it. That's exactly right. You know what it does?
No?
Do you want to know what it does?
Yeah, I do, actually.
Yeah, well, an intercooler is used to increase performance in a street vehicle. Big boost engines need big intercoolers. On the street, it's just kind of nice to kind of show off with that body work that we have on the car. Nice body work, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This cute little yellow thing, what is it?
Cute. We don't say cute when we look at car parts. We covered this. It's a racing suction pipe kit that brings cool, fresh air into the engine.
What is this little device, shiny thing?
This is a sequential blow-off valve. You know what it does?
No.
You want to know what it does?
Yeah.
Okay. When you step on the gas and you're driving down the road and then you let off the gas, the turbo has made some boost. It's pressurized air. It's got to go somewhere. It's like a flatulator.
Oh, like a little fart sound?
It's not a fart sound.
That's how you pick up all the ladies, huh? Okay, Craig, here we are under the car, and I thought everything goes the top part of the car.
Well, we do have to do a lot of the work up top, but we have to bolt the basics on underneath, like the exhaust system, and of course to do the turbocharger, to bolt to the exhaust system, all the work's done underneath the car. Take a look at some of the components we use. This is the stainless exhaust manifold.
Okay.
And it bolts to the back side of the engine, and the turbocharger will actually sit on top of this little metal, this flat piece right here. It's kind of a cool piece for car people. You see the wells, they look all nice little seams.
Well, how much is something like this?
Just this piece alone is about $1,800. The turbocharger, the big looking hairdryer thing, see how it's got the propeller inside of it? This is the GT3037S. big 4-inch inlet. And again, the more airflow you get in a motor, because it's a giant air pump, the faster it's going to go. And this will allow us to basically double the horsepower of the car. And of course, big turbos equal big horsepower. These things are about $2,500 just for this piece right here. Yeah. We got the shock absorbers, not just regular shocks, like a racing suspension. And then we've got the wastegate, which basically controls how much exhaust is being used to drive the turbocharger. And it's an important safety item. You have to have it, otherwise you could overpressurize the engine or even conceivably kill the turbocharger. So these pieces are about $700, but they're very, very important. So you need that. You absolutely need that. The power plant from the factory is pretty stout, but you still have to be kind of judicious in how much extra horsepower you add to the car. You can start breaking things on the car.
What's that?
That's a heat shield. You know that little black piece that's up on top of the motor? It looks kind of wrinkly and ugly. We're going to replace it with a nice piece. It's all shiny and chrome. It's got the logo on it. People like the logos.
Is it safe under there?
I think they have insurance. I think you'll be okay. And don't worry, if the car falls, I'll protect
You're going to save me.
Right, I'll jump right on top of it. The whole thing we were going to do up front with the turbo all ends right here with the HKS high power exhaust system, TIG welded, really cool piece, going to make the car sound nice. Actually shoots flames out of the back of the car.
Flame?
Some of the cars will actually shoot fire out of the exhaust.
Really?
Yes, when they're running very rich in a race environment, they'll actually shoot fire out the exhaust.
Is that safe?
It is, as long as you're not a hairy-legged person standing right behind the back of the car.
Yeah. Okay, so what is all this fun little cute stuff?
Well, with all those electronics that we have to put inside the car, everything's got to be utmost quality. So when they put all those performance parts on the car, we're going to want to protect them. The turbo timer is a little like countdown meter that lets the car idle after you shut the motor off. And what that does is that keeps oil circulating through the turbo and through the motor, helps prevent coking in the turbo, which is a very powerful killer of turbochargers. Then, of course, you're going to need some kind of electronics to control the turbocharger, the boost levels, how high the boost level goes. And you've got the boost control, the EVC, got a really cool bar graph display, and you've got 2 different boost settings. You can control the boost high or low. You can turn the knob way up for high boost settings for the racetrack and turn it down for if you're running on lower octane gas. Let's say you're going to give your car to a valet, and a car like this that's modified, you don't want them out there in the parking lot doing donuts and getting crazy. So all this kind of ties together for the electronics to make everything that we put under the hood work perfectly and give us the best horsepower levels.
So how long does this take, this process? Like, how long will it be here at the shop?
Well, we're going to do it in about 5 days. Try to stick to our budget of about $25,000 overall.
My God.
I told you you can spend a lot of money on this stuff, and hopefully in just a couple of days it'll all be buttoned up, ready for us to go. We spent some money.
This looks good.
Check it out. Check it out. It's all there. Everything we laid out on the table, everything we laid out on the floor is all in the car now. The big intercooler, the big turbo kit, the racing suction pipe kit, all the suspension stuff, it's all there.
So is this car legal?
Actually, most of the parts can work with the stock turbo kit, which are very legal in California and in indeed all 50 states. We kind of went above and beyond. It's really an off-road kit. This is pretty much a racetrack car now, so you're not going to take it out on the streets.
It looks a little lower. Is it lower?
Yes, very astute observation. We did want to lower the ride height of the car, and that'll lower the center of gravity. It looks good too, right?
Yeah, I like it.
If you take a look from the side of the car, you really start to see the difference in the car's overall lines. It's starting to look sexy now. Can you see where it's different?
I can see where it's different. It's different a little bit right in here. It's a little close to the tire, right?
Exactly. The tires are starting to look...
Why is that?
Well, we've tucked the tires by using that adjustable suspension. It gives the car a real aggressive stance.
Now, why are you going to take perfectly nice rims and take them off and put those?
Well, these are only 17-inch wheels from the manufacturer, and the trend right now is to be 18-inch or bigger, so big wheels are a good thing. The theme is going to be high-tech tuner style.
Okay.
And we're just going to carry that gunmetal in with a graphics package on the side of the car.
What exactly is it? The graphics, is it painted? Is it a sticker? Or...
Sticker, all vinyl. The great thing is you can change your style of your car and the look of your car in just a couple of hours with vinyl.
Kind of like a hairstyle.
Exactly.
Right?
The concept is the same.
Nice, so you can put like whatever color your girlfriend wants.
We're finally all done at the engine shop.
Yay!
So now we're moving on to the interior and doing the audio video stuff.
This is your favorite.
That's the best part of the project for us because the car really starts to come together and really starts to have the bling bling element.
So tell me a little bit about the interior.
Well, we changed some things out. We had that good factory Recaro interior, which, you know, we really don't want to mess with that too much. So we took it to Stitchcraft, who does a lot of work for Fast and Furious 1.
Which hooks it up.
Will definitely hook us up on this project. They just about finished the interior with the, you know, inserts of the upholsteries.
I like it.
But the real thing we're having them do is the audio video in the trunk.
So you're telling me all that stuff is going in this car?
About 95% of that will actually have to go in the trunk of the car, yeah.
Very tricky.
Now we're here at the trunk of the car, we can start to see the audio video equipment starting to be wedged in here. Well, this is pretty much the final layout of how we're going to do the car. So the speakers are going to go one here, one on the other side, the 2 amps, the Fast and Furious Nitro system.
Where's the TV go?
That's going to go up here. We'll put it up here so when we flip the trunk lid up, we can see it at car shows. And you can see we've actually got a lot of room in here, even with the 2 woofers and the Fast and Furious Nitro system. There's a lot of room at the front of the trunk, so if we need to put some extra equipment, batteries and stuff. So we're in my favorite spot. We're in the back seat, and I'm in the back seat.
The back seat?
The back seat with the supermodel.
Oh, so you say this to all the women, huh?
I'm a class guy. I take my women to nice locations. We couldn't be more classy than to be in all suede interior,
all suede.
two-tone custom stitch, Recaro
nice.
seats.
I like it.
It looks good, starting to come together.
It is.
Well, we've got the head unit that we're going to replace with that motorized pop-up LCD screen.
Okay.
And that'll be a DVD player, too, so you can watch movies in the car.
The Fast and the Furious.
We'll have speakers surrounding you everywhere, a lot of music in here, and a lot of pictures, so it'll be great.
Now, the TV's in the car, is that legal?
It is. There's actually an interface mechanism with the emergency brake, so the car has to be parked in order for the picture to come on.
Ah, that's very smart.
So you're safe and sane.
Yes.
Pretty much done here in the car, on the inside anyway.
So are you saying get out of the back seat of the car?
No, I'd like to keep you in here as long as possible, but these guys have work to do, so we'll save pleasure for later.
Okay, let's go.
All right. There you go. Time to bump.
Back off!
Pretty good, huh?
Get off of there!
Speaker down here. Got speakers down the door, speakers on the rear deck, the 2 big woofers in the trunk, and we actually have a center channel speaker hidden in here for watching movies. So we're finally all done, and now is the moment of truth, the big payoff. We're going to let you do the honors.
Me, of course.
So we're going to start this thing up just like we would any other car. Just push your foot down on the clutch. 3, 2, 1, hit it. Rev it, let's listen to it. Higher, go. The blow off out. Yeah. Now we need to put this thing on a dyno to see how much more horsepower making than before. We got to make sure that everything works right. We put that crazy turbo kit in the car. So we're here at Excess Engineering. They're going to strap it to this four-wheel drive dynamometer. We'll measure the horsepower and we'll tune the thing up, make sure the boost comes on right at the right time, and hopefully we put down some big power numbers.
Okay, Craig, so we're finally finished?
We're finally done. 6 weeks.
Finally!
6 weeks, $50,000 later, we are all done. But you know, we did a lot. We did the paint, we did audio video, we did interior, did a roll cage, nitrous, graphics, tires and wheels. We did a lot to the car. Big turbo kit.
What didn't we do to this car?
We haven't not done much. We even dyno tested to make sure it was just right so we can go out and go for a cruise on the street.
And I get to drive, right?
I don't usually let my women drive my cars, but since I get to be seen with you, what the hell?
All right, let's go. Like a cheerleading thing. Okay. This is fun. I do this all the time. Get Craig up here. Let's see how Craig goes.
Let's go. Take a thumbs up.